We have asked the Bartow County Sheriff's Office for its response. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
And Fremont, California is the happiest city in the country. It's according to a new Wallet Hub survey, which notes the city has the lowest rate of depression in the country. Bismarck, North Dakota ranks second on the list, followed by Scottsdale, Arizona. No Georgia city cracks the top 50. In fact, Atlanta is the first to show up at number 76. Detroit, Michigan ranks as the least happy city in the U.S. It's 9:03. The Mark Aram Show begins in less than 2 minutes. But first, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Start with the WSB 24-hour traffic center at Smile Mark McKay.
Pretty active on the roads. If you're stuck in that slow traffic leaving Sandy Springs up to Roswell and Alpharetta, there will be hope. The crash that had two left lanes knocked out for about an hour has cleared now. All lanes back open. 400 northbound before Halton Ridge Road exit 7. I-75 through lanes are a struggle this morning. Down to where a center lane is knocked out. It's a broken down big rig. I-75 south before Windy Hill Road exit 260. And a 285 travel advisory with a crash there, Ashley Fresca.
This is on the southeast perimeter headed out of DeKalb County into Fulton County. A rollover crash. Tractor trailer involved 285 westbound before Jonesboro Road. Quickly stacking up as you approach I-675. A couple of right lanes are knocked out. Fire department on the scene as well. You got some slow traffic across the north side perimeter. 285 west leaving I-85 into Doraville and 285 eastbound from Cobb County, slow in spots past New North Side. Triple team traffic, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Cloudy skies, breezy and very warm today. High 83, lows tonight in the low 60s. Heavy rain and thunderstorms rolling through the morning commute, drying out in the afternoon, but cooling down significantly. Highs in the mid-50s.
64 degrees in Powder Springs, 64 in Decula, 65 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:05. More news at 9:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Jed Higginbotham, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome, friends, to another action-packed edition of the Mark Aram Show. We are going to go all over the globe and update some big local stories here as well. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk to military analyst Colonel Jeff McCausland. A lot of developments in the Mideast right now. I believe up to 4 separate attacks on shipping lanes in the Mideast, as Iran does not seem to be letting up right now on their counterattacks. Big political news, as Judd mentioned, we have a runoff in the 14th Congressional District to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene, a runoff. Political analyst Stephen Lawson's going to join us live in studio, talking tech with Kim Commando. Deborah's got another pair of Eagles tickets to give away. We'll hand out those ducats, your chance to win them, coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. And another update to the big local story, that tragic death of the Hall County math teacher. The suspect in that death has released a statement, so we'll get you caught up to date on that story. I do want to start in the Mideast, though. Again, a number of attacks on shipping vessels in those shipping lanes in the Mideast, which is, I think, I'm not an expert in the oil industry, but I think we're going to see those oil prices go up as there's more uncertainty now on what is going to happen with all that Mideast oil and nowhere to go. But we are picking up some breaking news just a little bit ago. Apparently, Russia is now providing Iran with advanced drone tactics on how to attack U.S. and Israeli assets in the region. Let me say that again. Russia, intelligence now saying that Russia is providing Iran with advanced drone tactics to help them fight off U.S. troops and Israeli troops. This is just breaking. Nick Payton-Walsh with the latest now in Israel.
Yeah, it is an extraordinary and troubling development here. Now, I understand from a Western intelligence official that the skills, the targeting strategies that Russia has learned in its many years of using these one-way attack Shahed drones against Ukraine, that information is being passed to Iran to assist the attacks you've been talking about. There were 2 injured, 4 injured in Dubai. Drones suggested as being the issue there. This official telling me what was more general support is now getting more concerning, including these targeting strategies. Now, that is obviously key because, as I said, that's 3 years worth of battlefield experience. Now, the official didn't go into the detail of the strategies, but we know, I've seen it myself, these Shahed Drones often come in waves of dozens sometimes. Ukraine can be subjected to 1,000 in one night. They come together, they change direction, they move in groups, they appear to be heading one way, then do something else, they change altitude. They're learning every single week new ways to defeat Ukraine's increasingly sophisticated and inventive air defenses. They say there's an innovation cycle on the Ukrainian battlefield of just 6 weeks. That's how fast it is for something to become ultimately out of date or be put into play. So this is a key sign, firstly, that we maybe the reason why we are seeing these drone attacks against the Gulf nations here and in the Hormuz Strait as well, becoming unexpectedly successful, of getting through, and also to the commitment clearly that Vladimir Putin has, if, according to this Western official, his forces have, to assisting Iran in this fight. This is real-time expertise, real knowledge being transferred to the Iranians, this official tells me. I was also told, though, about the increased change of nature of the threat in the Strait of Hormuz. They are particularly concerned about the use of mines and also potentially about the use of low-technology fishing boats, dhows, to potentially target the carrier strike groups that are there. A lot fast-moving here, but this Russian tactical knowledge, so key probably to Iran, and the limited success, troubling as it's been, they've seen against Gulf nations with their drones.
Yeah, big development there. Again, if you're just joining us, intelligence, Western intelligence, reporting that Russia is now providing Iran with advanced drone tactics, trying to help them out fight the United States and Israeli armies. But again, before we got that breaking news, the headline was that 3 cargo ships have been hit in the Strait of Hormuz, raising the total to 14 since the Iran war began. Dale Gavlik has more from Amman, Jordan.
I'm Dale Gavlik in Amman, Jordan. 3 commercial ships were attacked, threatening shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, according to a UK Maritime Security Center. United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations says the crew of a cargo vessel in the Strait of Hormuz near Oman was forced to evacuate when an unidentified projectile caused a fire on board. Also, a bulk carrier and a container ship were hit off Dubai. Analysts say a prolonged closure of the vital waterway for supplies of oil, gas, and fertilizer for food production will devastate economies.
Continuing our team coverage now, joining us live on the Mark Aram Show, CBS News military analyst Colonel Jeff McCausland. Colonel, good morning, sir. Thanks as always for your time.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
A lot of big developments. Certainly, we'll start with what we've been seeing with this attacks on the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. It looks like Iran is not about to lay down their weapons. They want to keep this thing going, and it looks like their battlefield now, the waterways in the region.
That's exactly right. Again, what the Iranians are doing is what I would call horizontal escalation. They've escalated the war geographically. It's stretched now from Cyprus, which was attacked by a couple drones, all the way up to Sri Lanka, where we sank a Iranian vessel with a torpedo, north to Azerbaijan, south to Oman. Now they're also doing it horizontally by looking at the waterways, particularly the Straits of Hormuz, 22 miles wide. About 20% of the world's oil supplies passes through that narrow passageway. And it doesn't take many strikes or a couple of lines, because once that happened, as the report I think said a moment ago, 3 ships may have been struck. Immediately, the insurance companies say, we're not going to insure you any longer, and all the tanker traffic stops. And that's kind of what we've seen happen. But, I'd point out one other thing they're doing when it comes to liquids, Mark, and horizontal escalation. That is, they went after a desalination plant in Bahrain, which produces water. About 70% of the water for most of the countries in the region, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, comes from desalination plants. So now if the Iranians should start striking those with drones or whatever, that's going to cause enormous problems across the region.
Yeah, oil's important, but not as important to water, for sure, as Iran is basically throwing anything against the wall right now. And you and I talked last week. I couldn't have predicted that Iran would launch counter strikes on their Arabian neighbors. Not just the United States installations or Israel, but all over the region, as you mentioned, a really broad war now. This just in the last hour, Colonel. Western intelligence saying that Russia is now providing Iran with advanced drone tactics. Russia, of course, using these Iranian-made drones a lot during their war with Ukraine. They know what they're capable of. They know how they can work at their best. And now giving Iran this tactical advantage. That's stunning to me that Russia is now not hypothetically, giving Iran some help, but actually confirmation that they are assisting Iran in this.
Sandy, it's not surprising me at all. I mean, the Russians actually, ironically, got assistance from Iran early on in the invasion of Ukraine because it was Iran who provided them initial drone technologies, the Shed 136. The Russians have re-engineered a drone factory. They're turning out literally like 1 million a year right now. I think they call it the Giron 2 or something, and they're using it in the war in Ukraine. There also were previous reports over the last couple of days that the Russians were providing intelligence to the Iranians, particularly locations of U.S. ships, U.S. aircraft, and such, etc., all across the region. Now, ostensibly, in the phone call between Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin, Putin said, "Oh, no, we're not doing that." And interesting to me, our negotiator, Mr. Witkoff, said, "Well, we should take the Russians at their word." You got to be kidding me! Take the Russians at their word? But again, for the Russians, they would argue, "Well, you've been giving assistance to Ukraine, you've been giving intelligence to Ukraine, so this is sort of a quid pro quo."
Well, one of the things that, at least from where I'm sitting, I see a lack of clarity when it comes from the Department of Defense, the administration, the Joint Chiefs, on a stated singular goal or goals in this attack on Iran. First it was nuclear, getting rid of the nuclear capabilities, then getting rid of ballistic missile capabilities, and then getting rid of, a regime change. I haven't had a clear focus on what the end goal is of this conflict. Is that, abnormal? Obviously we've had many conflicts in the region, but don't we usually know what our end goal is when we start these things?
Well, largely, Sun Tzu once said, tactics without strategy is noise before defeat. And right now, that's what we got. You're not the only one that's confused, Mark. I couldn't tell you what the goal is. And even to begin with, there were 10 or 12 different reasons why the war began to begin with. And it's impossible then to articulate how you use military force because you don't know what the objective is. A strategy is not a target list. And we have a target list. We've hit 5,000 targets. But again, you're right. To what end? And we've been all over the place. The president's talked about unconditional surrender. Well, that would basically be regime change. He said we're winning, but maybe we're not. And the Pentagon has said we're not into regime change. So they're all over the place, not in terms of their messaging. And I think that's part of the reason why you see that in terms of popular support, it's down around 40 or 41% of the American people support this particular operation. And again, almost impossible for us to articulate how we use military force until we try to describe what's the end state we're trying to craft.
Americans obviously concerned also with boots in a ground situation, but President Trump floated the idea that maybe special forces will be sent into Iran to get some of that, enriched uranium out of there. If you just send in special forces for that one task, is that considered, truly boots on the ground?
No. Well, I think it would, and it would be an enormously complex operation. We know that the Iranians have roughly 1,000 pounds of enriched material to 60%. Not quite up to weapons grade, but not far away. Can anyone imagine that they would store that in one particular location? They wouldn't disperse it to several sites around the country, number one. Number two, they would have to know, because we're talking about it all the time, that would be a high-profile target that we would go after, so therefore it would be heavily defended. So mounting an operation like that, even if they were foolish enough to keep it in one particular spot and allow us to ascertain where that was, that would be a complex operation which would make the raid into Venezuela to get Maduro look easy.
Colonel, one final question. This is more, not military strategy, but personal guidance for me. And I think a lot of the folks here at WSB Radio, I don't know how to refer to this. Is this a war? Is this a conflict? How should I address what's going on in the Mideast right now?
Well, the Speaker of the House the other day said we're not at war, and I think you ought to pay attention at the Pentagon briefings a little bit more closely. When a war begins, it's gone as far as Cyprus in the west and Sri Lanka in the east, north to Azerbaijan, south to Oman, is affecting the entire globe economically. We've killed the leader of a country and many of its senior military and political leadership. We've dropped 5,000 targets. We've killed over 1,500 of its population. The that's not a war, somebody needs to explain to me as an old soldier what a war looks like.
All right, so I am okay within the bounds to label this as a war.
Not only you okay, you're accurate.
Gotcha. Colonel Jeff McCausland, CBS News military analyst. Colonel, sir, as always, appreciate your time, my friend.
Take care of yourself.
There you go. So breaking developments there. Again, with 3 vessels being struck in the last 12 hours, and the new information that Russia is now providing Iran with advanced drone tactics, I would expect I don't want this, but I suspect we're going to see oil prices rise. Futures right now, oil's up 3.4%, 86.29 a barrel, which is certainly a lot lower than it was when it hit $1.20, but certainly not as low as we want. Would love to see those oil prices go down. Relatedly, we might see some more oil reserves released from our allies. What's Russia's role in all this? Patrick Reveal from ABC News is going to join us in London on the heels of that breaking news. And how does Russia's oil factor in to what's going on with this war in the Mideast? 9:19 on the Mark Arum Show. Time to check the Wednesday morning drive around town. Let's say hello and good morning to Mike Shields.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Unfortunately, not so good right now on the south side perimeter. If you're traveling on I-25 westbound, let's say between I-20 and I-75, making your way to the airport, rollover crash, 2 right lanes blocked right now. Lots of response, too, from police and the fire department. 25 westbound Jonesboro Road delays start back over 2 miles starting at I-675. You can take 675 south on the Forest Parkway west to get to I-75. That's a wide way around it. Or take I-20 into downtown. Either on those backups and a stalled out tractor trailer trying to clear out of a center lane just into Marietta. 75 south and before Whitney Hill Road. The delays, though, start back at I-575. This report is brought to you by ExpressPros.com. When production shifts, your workforce has to keep up. Express Employment Professionals is your best resource for hiring. Find your local teams at ExpressPros.com and hire differently. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
How would you describe Eric Von Hessler?
Prickly with the public sometimes.
Prickly? No, never with the public.
Eric Von Hessler.
I'm very nice to strangers. I'm very curmudgeonly with those people.
He's got plans for your ride home.
The demeanor of the entire thing is
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
drinking tea on a bus.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Storm season is here. Don't get caught off guard, folks. It's Mark Arum back from my pals at Dr. Roof. The best warranty when it comes to roof repairs in Atlanta. Up to a 5-year warranty on roof repairs. Get all the info online at drroof.com.
They lied. They cheated. And they broke the law. Liberal losers forced illegal migration on hardworking Americans. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson is ready to fight back.
I don't care if you're Muslim or Mongolian. You don't have the right to force your culture on our country.
Corrupt career politicians let the invasion happen, then made it worse. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson isn't gonna let them get away with it.
Too often, criminal illegals commit sick, violent crimes, victimize our children, and get away with murder. So here's my guarantee to them. Do that when I'm governor, and you'll end up deported or departed. Any questions?
It's time to win big for Georgia. Rick Jackson, a Trump-supporting, straight-talking, successful businessman with nothing to lose. Rick Jackson for governor.
Paid for by Jackson for Governor Inc.
We are here with CFP and investment advisor Aaron Vincent of the Vincent Financial Group and host of Retire ATL every weekend right here. Get more at retireatlradio.com. And Aaron, there are some adults that work with the big box firms and they think to themselves, I feel like some of my needs aren't being met or there are opportunities that they could be missing. So what would you tell that person that's thinking about getting that second opinion, thinking about making the call, but they just haven't yet?
Mark, what I would say to that person who thought about it or wanted to last year but didn't is why? Why didn't you? Let's get real here. Whether you're in your car driving or you're at your office, however you're listening to this, take a second or write this down or make a mental note. Why didn't you execute on that thought? That thought that you had, that feeling that you had about getting a second opinion, you didn't follow up with that. What's the reason? A lot of times we find people are intimidated by, I don't want to be transparent. I feel like if I admit where I'm at, I'm admitting failure or something along those lines. And let me just make the bridge to you right now. We aren't going to judge you if you wish you were at X, but you're only at Y. There's no shame in saying, I'm not where I want to be and I want to get there. That should be applauded. If anything, you're going to get applause from us because it's like the human condition, right? Life on earth, to raise your hand and say, I need some help. I'd like to get this thing shored up and I'm willing to tell you the truth about where I'm at to get there. That takes courage. It takes some guts. I respect that regardless of where you are. To say, I'm willing to open myself up to that kind of conversation, that should be applauded.
To receive a personalized second opinion of your financial future from the team at the Vincent Financial Group, we invite you to call today, 770-280-1488. That's 770-280-1488 or online at retireatlradio.com. And join us for Retire ATL every weekend right here. And it's all powered by the Vincent Financial Group. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Priority Men's Medical Center restores men's love lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Priority Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Priority Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. Take control of your love life. Call now. 404-885-8885.
Why choose between getting things done and doing things with the ones you love? With Kroger same-day pickup and delivery, it's easy to shop the same great prices and quality you'd find in store. We'll bring your groceries right to you, so you can spend time on what matters most. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save $20 on your first Kroger pickup or delivery order of $75